All right. It is 2 p.m. where I am streaming. My schedule's been a little bit off its rockers last couple of days. Today I'm trying a sort of new type of stream, which is, for all intents and purposes, extremely boring, at least the way I imagine it. It's going to be just me reading. I'm just going to read. If you have seen my live streams of me reading before, you'll notice that what I try to do is I try to share the parts that I think are interesting. I don't read it out loud. I'm not like an audio book. I'm more of a reaction person, which means that I think this thing would be more interesting if you are also reading the same thing as me. But the nature of this live stream is I don't even know the title of the book that I'm going to read per se, and I'm not gonna prefix it. I'm just gonna read the way I normally do. I think this is not gonna be very good content, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of you guys actually like this. If so, let me know, because if I have no feedback, I don't know if I'll continue to do this for a long time. But for the time being, I want to at least try for a week, because I actually think it's going to be beneficial for me. It's going to be beneficial for me in the sense that I get to just sort of talk about what I'm reading with somebody that's out there as I'm reading it, and this will actually force me to read more. So I think that's one of the benefits I can work with. Now I'm quickly just scanning my Kindle to see the books I have. I do have a hard, like a paperback book with me that I want to read, but I have no way of sharing that with you. Like, I don't have like a camera setup where you can see my book. So today that will not be a very good way of I won't be able to show you that. Although now that I think about it, when Apple comes out with like glasses, or when they create when they have glasses, that might mean I should be able to like stream to you the things that I'm looking at, which is gonna be nuts, because I think the Apple glasses are supposed to come out in like less than 2 years. So obviously I don't want to wait 2 years to show you me reading a book, but still, that would be such a crazy thing to have happen. Anyway, so that's my experiment. My experiment is I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna read like I normally read, okay? And we'll see what happens. And you guys can chat with me, and then I'll just be chatting as I read. Now, what's in my mind right now? So here's something that's kind of peculiar about me reading. I don't keep reading only this one book constantly. I know I have a lot of friends who are readers who just read one book at a time, but I'm not like that. I sort of jump around depending on how I feel that morning. It's more of a buffet approach, I think. So I just read whatever kind of sticks out and pops out at me at that time. And obviously there's a sort of bias towards things I've been reading recently, because if I've been reading recently, I already have some freshness in my mind about it, but it's not always the same way. So I'm just sort of scanning right now and trying to figure out what I want to read. So I want to read The Child is the Teacher. I just downloaded that sample to my Kindle. I want to read that. I also want to read The Verge. And I also want to read The Order of Time. And I want to read Music, this one over here on the right. I want to read all of them. So which one do I want to read right now? Music, I can only read on the paperback version of it because I don't want to buy a Kindle version just for the stream. I kind of want to read The Verge because I enjoy it, but also I want to stop reading it. I want to be done with it, and I'm at the last chapter. So today I'm going to be reading, at least for the time being, I'm going to be reading The Verge. Let me update my what do you call it? The sidebar. Okay, so what's the actual full title of this? The Verge. Reformation, Renaissance, and the 40 years that shook the world, I think, is the actual. And I guess I'll be pedantic and use the exact thing. Okay, by Patrick Wyman, which was published. I actually want to know when exactly this was published. 2021. And the reason I want to read this, I'll be a little bit more explicit. First of all, I'm at chapter 9 out of. Oops, what happened? Oh, wrong one. Come out of this. The Kindle apps are so unintuitive. Anyway, the UI of Kindle apps are extremely unintuitive, and I feel like there has to be a better way of doing it. But whatever. So, yeah, I'm close to the end. But one note on just this book and how cool it is it takes the whole time period of the early 1500s, like 1490 to 1530, I think. Let's just double check. 1490 to 1530. And by the way, yes, it's like compressed to those 40 years, but it kind of goes before and after that time as well. Okay, it kind of includes some bits before and after that time. But in those 40 years, we actually have all these names that if you took like a bunch of history, and like if you graduated high school and maybe even college, you'll have heard of these names, right? Christopher Columbus, Martin Luther, and Suleiman the Magnificent, if you took like world history, as well as Charles V and Isabella and Ferdinand. Those are some names that you may know about if you've taken European history in particular. These are all names that we've heard of, but like seeing them all like placed side by side in the exact same time period and getting to read about them one by one and in detail makes the time period feel like it came alive. And it's one of the cool things about this particular book. And I particularly liked Christopher Columbus. I liked Isabella. I liked Isabella and Ferdinand. I liked Martin Luther. And Suleiman was pretty interesting. Although that one's more classically like war history kind of stuff. So, but I just like getting a sense of what that world was like. So now I'm about to go into Charles V. Charles V is Charles V the son of the Holy Roman Empire? Who exactly? Now that I've heard all this, I'm already still fuzzy on who Charles V is. So I don't know what to expect right now. I'm just going to go into it and see what happens. Okay, so Patrick Wyman tends to have these sort of literary descriptions of like a scene. Okay, and I tend to read through these pretty quickly because I'm not really reading this book for these scenes, right? Because these are imaginative scenes. Okay, a young man though near the water. His name is Charles. His name came from his grandfather, who was rash and brave, prominent jaw, awkward tongue and deformed jaw. Let others speak for him. So he's in Spain. He knew very little about Spain. I'm going to skip. He's thankful to be right because he came from Zealand, wherever that is. And okay, here we go. That was not a passing concern. If Charles died, things would get complicated. He is 17 years old, but it was a fundamental question for the political future of all of Europe. This new king of Spain was the grandson of... Oh, this is the king of Spain. Oh, this is the grandson of Isabella and Ferdinand. The problem, though, is I read the first part of the book so long ago, I don't remember the situation very well. But okay, hopefully we Oh, right. Jacob Fugger's money would buy him the throne. So he would become the emperor, the Holy Roman Emperor. Oh, this guy is going to have huge impact. So he will actually subjugate the New World, the Aztecs and the Inca empires. Because he's kind of funding all the exploration. Maybe not all, but he's part of it. Martin Luther. Charles did not like Martin Luther. God's von Berg. So right now, this particular paragraph is interesting because it's a synthesis of the whole book. It's all of the people. Okay, all of these names that are coming out are people from the first 8 chapters, except for Suleiman, I guess. Oh, here we got Suleiman. Okay, so Charles V is sort of the climax right now of the whole book, because this is the emperor, the Holy Roman Emperor. Most powerful Christian ruler. Excuse me. He is the personification of Europe at this time. A Burgundian prince, a Spanish king, and a Holy Roman Emperor, all 3 at the same time. He was so important, but he was also unremarkable. Names. How did he get so many? Centuries of accumulation, sure, but with the Habsburg and Trastamara lines in Austria and Spain. It's kind of interesting how that builds up, but the history of the nobility, I feel like, would be more interesting with a proper treatment of it specifically. A single marriage could tip the balance of power in the county, a kingdom, or a continent, depending on what claims came with it. Right. Which claims do you have? So I'm just trying to make a modern day analogy. If I was like, if I'm like a wealthy person and I own properties here and there, like I own properties in the Cayman Islands, I own properties in, I don't know, Florida and New York and maybe somewhere out in Colorado, and I own these properties, and then I'm trying to marry, my son's trying to marry somebody with no property whatsoever, then, maybe I would be something like one of these princes or like one of these kings, and just sort of like vying for the right marriage. I wouldn't know because it's not my background whatsoever. but yeah, something like that. I'm like the oil magnate, and then there's like the corn magnate, and then my son is trying to marry their daughter, stuff like that. Something like that. I don't know. All of this stuff I only know through like movies. Excuse me. Ugh. Yes, I yawn when I read because reading does sometimes make me sleepy, especially when it's especially with the weather being all muggy. It's not helping. I want to see something that I kind of focus on because I'm not super interested in all this. Sicily, Naples, marriage of Ferdinand. They have Juana, and then they marry Philip the Handsome, and then he's the only Habsburg with good looks, and Philip and Juana Philip and Juan, I vaguely remember from that second chapter. Oh. So then we have Charles, who's born of Philip and Juana, dysfunctional family, almost almost entirely in the Burgundian Netherlands. Okay. Her father Ferdinand was unwilling to give up to rule Castile. Locked away and banished her. Okay, so something that was terrible for the mother of Charles V. It had taken centuries of accumulation. So you know what? I'm not that interested in the details. I basically skipped all of it, and I get it. Centuries of accumulation by two of Europe's most acquisitive dynasties to put a young boy in this position. It's like, this is what life was about, getting this boy here. Okay, got it. Oh, but then this is something that came out, the result of centralizing forces that dominated the age and shifts in military and political technology. This is a cool little thesis that came out in chapter 2, I think. And what is driving the centralization? You know, the need to have these expeditions, the need to finance these expeditions, you know, and then we're like, and they get more tax and all this stuff. That stuff was actually pretty cool. That's all in chapter 2 though, not here, so I'm just gonna keep going. We don't even talk about how boring he is. We just talk about his background. Like what this part is titled wrong. All right, moving on. Coming to Spain. He was silent. Was he dumb or was he just shy? Flattery and tale-telling did not appeal to him. His grandfathers were both sort of romantic, but not him. He relied all on his advisors. When he stepped off the ship, okay. At least 4 illegitimate children. 7 children. Wow. He was even less mentally striking. Is but an idiot. Idiot. He's kind of disconnected because no one knew what to expect from him. He was sort of aloof. He had much dynastic connection, but little personal connection. No one can question his right to rule, but he has zero governance and he has no network. But he knew so little. His mismanagement of his vast right. It began even before he left his home to come to Spain. Okay, so he's a faux pas. Okay, we're talking about court drama right now. Okay, his first little conquest was a disaster. Cisneros was a person, I guess. Then this took him to Spain. Okay, so he started with lots of faux pas. Okay, so lots of mistakes here. And then he also treated his brother Ferdinand a certain way, a Burgundian prince. Ferdinand spent his entire life in Spain. He had been named after his Machiavellian Ferdinand. Okay, the Ferdinand we heard about in chapter 2. Very Spanish. Charles ignored the prior agreements. Okay, so this boy was creating a lot of problems. Okay, so that's kind of the point. And I guess this part is interesting because I'm kind of curious what happens as a result of all these problems. Because I don't know actually, does the Holy Roman Empire kind of crumble apart under Charles V? I'm not sure. And yes, there was a possibility of Ferdinand as an alternative. If perhaps it was certainly heartless, okay. Dude, treating your mom like that's insane. But anyway. Wow. That's crazy. By removing a prince with whom his new subjects were already familiar, isolating his mother, insulting his uncle, and filling his court with foreign advisors who despised Spanish. Okay, thank you for that summary, because I definitely wasn't paying attention to all the details. Sure, he learned Castilian really quickly and he started speaking on his own, but lots of mistakes. Open rebellion would break out. The Comuneros would... Okay. Before the Comuneros, we're talking about something else. Okay. What's this weird, jerky narrative flow right now? He received word that his grandfather died. Right. The old emperor was the most useful. Okay. So Maximilian wants to live vicariously through Charles, but Charles is kind of an idiot. Francis I had covered himself in glory in a few brief years, crushed the Swiss in northern Italy, and now the Italian wars, France is winning. And he's willing to pay for the throne of the Holy Roman Empire. Henry VIII. Now they can get a bidding war for the votes, I guess, which they make money on the vote. Right. A bidding war for the votes, because you could buy yourself the throne by getting the votes, and you can get the votes by paying for it. Oh, sorry. Are we talking about Charlie right now? Oh no. Are we talking about Charles right now? This is what he means? Okay, whatever. Okay, yeah. This, yeah, we're not. Okay, anyway, never mind, Charles. Okay, so one thing that I am recalling is that Suleiman was able to make a lot of advances into Europe. He was Suleiman was about to what almost even took Vienna, almost, so came up all the way up to Vienna in Austria. And I think the biggest reason is being revealed here. The biggest reason is because Charles and Francis were fighting. So the Holy Roman Emperor was fighting with one of his, I guess, subjects who was vying for the throne. There are 7 electors: the Archbishops of Maine, Cologne, Trier, the King of Bohemia, the Margrave of Brandenburg. Each of them had a price tag. And Maximilian resorted to taking France. Crazy. It's crazy how you use money to build up power like that. Okay, Maximilian was harsh, right? This is the chief ambition of these people. This is such an unhealthy dynamic. Oh, excuse me. Dizzy. With Maximilian dead, all of the previous arrangements were also gone. Crazy. Francis wrote, "You must either use bribes or force." I see. There's a symbolic, not just a symbolic, but there's a real way in which making Charles the Holy Roman Empire would lead to a lot of profit. Loan money, and there would be crazy money. So that's why he's giving it to Charles. Even though, so that's a thesis. The thesis is, how can he become emperor when he's so unliked? And it's because, basically what he's saying is because Fugger saw that there was a lot of money to be made. It's kind of boring. By the way, this book tends to be a lot more interesting. At least, I don't know what tends to, I can't generalize. But for me, this book was really interesting because I started reading this book when I was watching Game of Thrones. Because I started watching Game of Thrones very late compared to other people. And like thinking about all the politics. Oh, excuse me. Like Game of Thrones, especially the early seasons, has a lot of politics, and like being able to think about the politics and economics of things while imagining kind of the scenes for Game of Thrones made it much more fun. But I'm bored now. But I also am so close to the end that I don't want to just not read. By the way, this is not the only time in the book that I felt bored. There were multiple times in this book I felt bored. So, okay. He didn't have any attention. He was just sort of incompetent. It was no wonder that he was not especially interested in helping his brother as Suleiman advance on Belgrade. He was so distracted. Okay. And also, he doesn't have a lot of proper information. He's distant. He's being pulled in 1,000 directions at once. I'm literally reading backwards. I'm just looking for the parts that kind of give me an idea of what this paragraph is, or what this section is about. Okay, he's sort of a paper king. He's a paper king. Yeah, so it's good enough. I got what I wanted. Oh. Oh, I'm finding all of this very boring. Okay, I'm gonna quit on this. I don't think I'm gonna pretend to finish this today. So I quit. Bro. And it's something this is something I've experienced multiple times with this book, where I just get bored and I want to skim, so I do. And today I'm even too tired to even skim, so I'm gonna try to read something else a little bit. I wanted to read more of The Order of Time, but I only did I have okay, I still have more in the sample that I can read, so I want to try it. Oh, The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. Oh, dude, that was so tiring. The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. Was this 2017? Is this an older one? I forget which one this one was. Let's go. Is this more recent? I actually don't know. 2017. Or 2018 in English. Oh, wow. Whoa, that was so boring. Oh, God. Oh, so tired. I feel so much better now that I just put that book down. Let's see if I can find something interesting here. So I'm reminding myself what happened here in my previous reading. Physics does not describe how things evolve in time, but how times evolve relative to each other. Here we go. Loss of direction. Right now, I think we're still in the chapters about the history of our thinking about time. This kind of gets to a central principle about, it's like a law of thermodynamics, I think. Everything tends towards entropy. It doesn't return to unity on their own. Okay, that's kind of one of those laws. Let me know if I'm correct or incorrect. I'm gonna start saying stuff that doesn't even necessarily, they might not even be right. So let me know what you guys know. Where does the eternal current come from? Is time not something that always flows? Okay, so previously, in the previous chapter, we're talking about how much time is passing. Now we're talking about the numbers. Okay, that's kind of a interesting way of dividing it, but sure. It's interesting how Ravelli uses poetry pretty frequently. The eternal current draws all the ages along with it, through both realms, overwhelming them in both. What's interesting about this particular line is that what are the two realms, right? What are the two realms? So Ravelli already goes right into it, past and future, the two realms of past and future. And I guess that's probably what it means, but yeah, it's an interesting couple lines for that. And we care about not how much time is passing in a given moment, but we care about the kind of directionality of it. The directionality of it. Hang on. What's this thing? Loss of direction. Holy crap. So this chapter is about how maybe in modern physics, there is no direction for time. That's a crazy idea. What? That's crazy. Let's see what happens. Let's see what this what this chapter is about. The difference between past and future, cause and effect, memory, hope, regret, and intention. There is no such difference. Yes, I literally anticipated it one paragraph before, because what I did is I want to look. I just double checked the title, and so I could anticipate what he was about to say. There is no difference between past and future. It looks like for us, it's very important that the future is the direction forward and the past is behind us, right? But in the physical mechanisms of the world, that doesn't exist, which is crazy. All right, Louis the 16th. All of the sons of Adam are part of one single body, same essence. Rudolf Clausius. If nothing else around it changes, he cannot pass from a cold body to a hot one. Huh. The crucial point is difference from what happens with gravity. A ball may go against gravity, but he cannot. This is the only basic law of physics that distinguishes the past from the future. None of the other ones have any concept of time. That's a crazy idea. Whoa, I'm actually almost getting chills right now. Chills, speaking of which, heat, no pun intended. This is the only basic law of physics. That's crazy. Not Newton's laws, not the equation for electricity, not Einstein, not quantum mechanics. Not one of these equations distinguishes the past from the future. If a sequence of events is allowed by these equations, it can run backward in time. The arrow of time appears only where there is heat. The link between time and heat is therefore fundamental. What the hell? Okay, now this is an extremely repetitive bit, but it's so crazy. I'm glad that he's repeating himself. In every sequence of events that becomes absurd if projected backwards, it's because something is heating up. If I watch a film that shows a ball rolling, I can't tell if the film is being projected or if it's in reverse. But if the ball stops, I know that it's being run properly. Run backward, it would show an implausible, right, an implausible event, a ball starting to move by itself. The balls slowing down and coming to rest are due to friction, and friction produces heat. Huh. Thoughts, for example, unfold from the past to the future, not vice versa. In fact, thinking produces heat. Entropy. Entropy. I did mention entropy earlier, right? I did. So I'm being a good physics. I'm being a good layperson physicist. Increases remain the same, but never decreases. Forgive me for the equation. It's the only one in the book. It is the equation for time's arrow. I could hardly refrain from including it in my book about time. In order to indicate that it never decreases, we have to say that delta S is always greater than 0 or equal to. Behind this unusual equation, an entire world lies hidden, and this unfortunate and engaging Australian, Ludwig Boltzmann, is the one who will reveal this whole world. This is such good. I'm feeling chills right now. Okay, the heat is leaving my body right now. This is because. It's such a mind F, I'm just getting destroyed right now by this. It's so crazy. Entropy, thermodynamics, time. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm getting actually excited. This is exciting me. Boltzmann works in Graz, Heidelberg, Berlin, Vienna, and then in Graz again. Doing Mardi Gras. Okay, sure. he was unstable as a person. Elated, depressed, short, stout, beard of a Taliban. Okay, I guess that's the kind of joke that Italians make. My dear sweet chubby one. He is the luckless hero of time's directionality. Sadie Carnot thought that he was a substance. He was wrong. It's the microscopic agitation of molecules. Colty, right? That's what time is. It's how the molecules are agitated. At the end of the 19th century, people still, so as we're about to hit 1900, people still didn't believe in molecules and atoms. And he was just believing in them, and now he was going to fight for them. And his diatribes, his rants became legendary. In one of these fiery polemics at a conference in Vienna, the laws of matter are not subject to the directionality of time. Scientific materialism was dead. Okay, I don't fully understand that sentence, but sure. Can I? Oh, right, this is just a... Yo, I need to buy this book. I'm gonna buy this book. Guys, oh, the problem is I want to buy the physical book. Dilemmas, man. Dilemmas. Oh, dude, I guess I just need to make more money and have the physical and the... Like, for books that I love, I like having physical books. You know what? I should just make that a habit. I should read on Kindle, and I could do that with you guys online. And then if I love a book and I want to reread it, then I can buy it physically, and then I can just keep my own copy and read it. The only negative to that plan is that sometimes I like just reading the book while walking around or like in the park, and I can't stream when I'm at the park. So I feel a little bit of a conflict there, but for now I'm gonna buy this book on Amazon right now. Give me a sec. The Order of Time. It's only $11 on Amazon, so let's go. Let's go. And I'm done. Yo. Okay, so I'm gonna pop out for a sec. I'm gonna reload, and that's no longer a sample. I'm downloading the full book. Hell yeah. This is such an exciting book. Oh, dude. Where to go? Somewhere here. Okay, so now I want to see this reference in 17. Wilhelm Ostwald. Actually, I kind of want to briefly, okay, if you will entertain me, if you will humor me for a second, Ostwald versus, what's his name? Ludwig in Vienna. Ostwald. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So give me a sec. Oh, wrong. Here. So, looking at this. Oh, look, Google does this like pre-organized thing here. Boltzmann equation. Dynamics of an ideal gas. Interesting. I vaguely remember learning that at some point. Okay. There's encyclopedia.com. which might be a good source because I haven't used that before, or at least I don't really remember that. And then there's Boltzmann. And I want to look at Oswald. In 1900, because of his dislike with work with Mach, he moved to Leipzig, of his strongest scientific opponent, Oswald. They were on good personal terms. He unsuccessfully attempted suicide during his time in Leipzig. Oh, we don't have a lot of information there. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Ooh, this website seems kind of gross. Too many ads. A philosophical reaction against materialistic science and preference for empirical or phenomenological theories. What's the difference between materialistic and empirical? I'm kind of confused. Because is materialistic and mechanistic science is that more like when you're deductive, like when you are deducing from laws? Is that what that is? And empirical phenomenological is by observation. Is that what that is? Imagine, like literally imagining these debates though at that time, they can't see these things. So they're just groping at it, which is crazy, honestly, at that time. Because these are going to be really smart people. And they're just guessing at how the world is made. It's such a crazy thing. All right, I'm gonna leave this be for a sec because the book is actually plenty exciting as it is. So let me come back. Crazy sentence. The eyes of Copernicus had seen the world turning. The eyes of Boltzmann saw atoms and molecules moving. Crazy sentence. And obviously we're imagining him. He, of course, didn't see it, but as a physicist, he's seeing it. You know, crazy sentence. This thermodynamic tumult stirs up everything. Everything's constantly bouncing. It's crazy. And then they heat up. It's like a continual shuffling of cards. It disorders them. Entropy is nothing other than the ubiquitous and familiar natural increase of disorder. This is what Boltzmann understood. It doesn't lie in the elementary laws of motion. It does not reside in the deep grammar of nature. It's just that we know that there is time in as far as there is a moment of greater entropy and a moment of lesser entropy. And the fact that we always know that the greater entropy is what happened afterwards. Why, in one of the two directions, were things more ordered? Why was there more order in the past? Crazy! It's almost religious. That's a religious sounding sentence. That's so crazy. Yo, that is... What the hell, man? It's so crazy. Oh my god, it's so crazy. Dude. Okay. Uh, if we observe a phenomenon that begins in a state of lower entropy, it is particular because I'm looking at the color. Every configuration is particular. It depends on what we're looking at. If I distinguish between all the cards, then there's no order. Oh. Is born, wait. Right, there's no such thing as an order or disorder. It's just a thing that we create at the moment. Huh. So, okay, to use an example right now, this phone has a rectangular shape and it has curved edges and the glass is smooth and whatnot. So it feels like it moves towards disorder if I smash it. If I just like smash it somewhere, it's gonna feel disordered. But that is a fiction, it's something we made up. Because the idea of order itself is just an approximation of all the atoms I'm seeing at that moment. And I'm considering this, I'm just saying, I'm calling it a form of order. Like if I started with a broken thing, like the cracked screen phone, and I called that the default, if I saw that as a default, then what would happen to that cracked thing? I would see it, of course it's going to change to some other form. And that would be considered disorder, whatever happens. How many are the different configurations that our blurred vision does not distinguish between? Heat entropy and lower entropy of the past are notions that belong to an approximate statistical description of nature. So I'm looking at this sort of statistically in the sense that I'm not looking at the molecules and atoms. I'm looking, because when I see this, if I can see the atoms and molecules here, all I would see is this insane vibrating mass of activity. But I'm just taking a picture, and it's a statistical representation that I convey with colors and reflections and whatnot. I'm not seeing the atoms as they are. So if I could take a microscopic picture, would the flowing of time disappear? The past is determined by the present, and the future is determined by the present. That's also a little crazy. In the elementary grammar of things, there's no such thing as cause and effect. There are regularities. They're linking events at different times, but they are symmetric between future and past. The difference between future and past refers only to our own blurred vision of the world. It's such a vivid, basic, existential, it's such an obvious thing to us that we can perceive. wow, he's writing something that's so incredibly difficult to explain, but he's writing it in such a way that, I don't understand every single sentence, but like I can get it, he's such a good explainer. It's nothing other than the number of microscopic states that our blurred vision of the world fails to distinguish. It's carved on his tomb. S equals K log W. There's no difference between past and future. It flows in a certain way, but if it can be said to flow at all, it flows in a different way, at different speeds, depending on how high or low you are. The more gravity there is, the more it flows, right? Or the slower it flows, I think, or I forget what it is, but there's also no flow, or if there is, it's not between past and present or something crazy like that. He hung himself. And Rilke writes his elegy. Wow, I got chills, dude. I got chills. Wow, what a crazy chapter, man. Let me find the Rilke poem. Where's the Rilke poem? Is that here? No. No, this is okay. Where's Rilke? Rilke. Here we go. Oh, the Duino elegies. I wanna read that poem. Like, maybe I could come to this in a sec. I want to be able to read it first before. His most important work, religious, mystical, angel salvation, ontological torment. What? Dude, I got chills, honestly. The first elegy. Who, if I cried out, would hear me among the angels' orders, and even if one of them pressed me suddenly to his heart, I'd be consumed in his more potent being, for beauty is nothing but the beginning of terror, which you can still barely endure. And while we stand in wonder, it coolly disdains to destroy us. Every angel is terrifying, and so I grip myself and choke down that call note of dark sobbing. Whom can we turn to in our need? Not angels, not humans, and the sly animals see at once how little at home we are in the interpreted world. That leaves us some tree on a slope to which our eyes return day after day. They only use each other to mask their fates. You still don't see? Fling the emptiness into your arms, in your arms, out into the spaces we breathe. Perhaps the birds will feel the increase of air with more passionate flight. But he's being sarcastic here. I never properly read a lot of Rainer Mariah Rilke, so I kind of it has this sort of modernist heaviness that I'm not, it's not kind of what I go towards naturally, but no, I think that yeah, I kind of want to get into it. If I cried out, who would hear me up there among the angelic orders? For some reason, I get like Allen Ginsberg feels on that, but maybe I'm just going crazy. Huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Distress. The modernist cry. Okay. I kind of like it, but yeah, wow, dude, I got chills. Yo, that's so good. All right, I think that's good enough for me today. I'm gonna now get into. I need to take a quick break and then maybe go into the SAT. But I'm really excited about this book now. All right, about to go. So I'm gonna be doing this every day. And maybe what I'm realizing is I could probably just make a clip of the parts where I do have a strong reaction, and maybe turn that into something on YouTube. So I'll look into how to do that. I'm not the best at video editing, but I'll try. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys have a good day wherever you are. Keep on growing, keep on reading. Later, guys.